On the gray waters off Normandy, the U.S. Fifth Corps, the 1st and 29th Infantry Divisions steamed toward an 8-kilometer wide, 500-meter deep stretch of sand, codenamed Omaha. Taking the soldiers to the beaches were the now famous Higgins boats. Traveling at roughly 12 knots and pitching in heavy swells, each craft could carry 36 soldiers on an open deck. Exactly how many Higgins boats were in the first wave at Omaha is not known, but it is believed that the first wave on Omaha consisted of about 1,450 soldiers in 36 boats. These men would face the full weight of the German 352nd Infantry Division, 7,800 infantry, 8 artillery bunkers, 35 pillboxes, 4 artillery pieces, 6 mortar pits, 18 anti-tank guns, 45 rocket launcher sites, 85 machine gun positions, and 6 tank turrets entrenched in concrete strongpoints. The invasion plan called for a 30-minute naval bombardment that roared overhead just before H hour, but rough seas and low clouds scattered the shells. Most bunkers emerged unscathed. Omaha remained a fortress. 34,000 Americans would land at Omaha that day. Roughly 2,400 became casualties, killed, wounded, or missing. The earliest waves paid the steepest price. The first wave came ashore at 0630. 1,450 assault infantry hit the beach. Companies A through D of the 116th Regimental Combat Team landed on the western sectors, and companies A through D of the 16th Regimental Combat Team landed on the east. They counted on 32 duplex-drive Sherman tanks for fire support. The D.D. Sherman was an amphibious version of the M4 tank, fitted with a collapsible canvas screen and twin propellers. Designed to swim from landing craft to shore, it was designed to give the first assault waves rare and precious armored support on D-Day. Launched 5,000 yards offshore, 27 sank in 3-meter waves. Only 5 reached the beach. As the ramps dropped, MG-42s erupted at 1,200 rounds per minute. Men waded chest deep into a storm of steel. Company A of the 116th stepped into hell. Entire landing craft were torn apart in minutes, and within the first 10 minutes of the attack, every officer in the company was killed or wounded. By the time the survivors reached the shingle, well over 90% of the men who had landed were dead or incapacitated. Company A was, for all practical purposes, destroyed. Across the wave, casualties soared to 60 or 70% in the opening 15 minutes. Survivors clawed their way behind the shingle, a low bank of loose pebbles pinned down and unable to advance. The second wave came 10 minutes after the first. 1,100 men followed the remaining assault companies and the 5th and 6th Engineer Special Brigades. They landed amid floating bodies and burning landing craft. The rising tide concealed steel check hedgehogs and log ramps designed to damage landing crafts. Engineers worked knee-deep in surf, wiring explosives under relentless fire. Gap assault teams were tasked with clearing 16 50-yard lanes through the obstacles. Only 6 were opened all day. Engineer units suffered 41% losses, the highest proportional toll of any group. Total wave casualties were between 45 and 55%. The beach remained a death trap. The third wave followed at 7 a.m. 800 men landed demolition squads, additional engineers, and headquarters personnel. Smoke shrouded the sand, but German gunners had the range. Landing craft grounded on hidden obstacles, and ramps jammed with the dead. Yet small breaches appeared. 3 lanes were partially cleared. Infantry teams slid Bangalore torpedoes beneath barbed wire and blasted narrow paths. Wave casualties were 35%. The first cracks showed in the German line. Wave 4 came at 7:30 a.m. 1,200 men landed, the 741st Tank Battalion, minus its swimming tanks, the 7th Field Artillery, and reserve rifle companies. U.S. Navy destroyers closed to within 1,000 yards of shore, pounding bunkers with 5-inch guns. Widerstands nests 62 and 65 fell silent under direct hits. Half the 105mm howitzers still foundered, but infantry advanced 100 yards inland at Dog Green and Easy Red. Wave casualties were 30%. Another 1,300 men, battalion reserves, medics, and signal companies came ashore in the 5th wave at 8 a.m. Destroyer fire became systematic. One vessel alone fired 400 rounds. Wire gaps widened to 100 yards. On the western flank, Army Rangers scaled the cliffs at Pointe du Hoc, their silhouettes visible from the beach. Infantry infiltrated the draws, and German counterattacks collapsed. Wave casualties were 25%. At 8:30 a.m., 1,500 men landed. Follow-on infantry and anti-aircraft units. 2,000 survivors still clung to the shingle. Fresh troops leapfrogged forward. The first groups crested the bluffs at Fox Green. Wave casualties were 18%. At 9 a.m., Wave 7 arrived. 2,000 men, heavy weapons, and additional artillery. Smoke and shell fire blinded the strongpoints. Exit D1 opened, a usable road off the beach. Wave casualties were 15%. Wave 8 landed at 9:30 a.m. 2,500 men, supplies, medical teams, and engineer reinforcements. The beachhead now extended 300 yards inland. Casualties were 12%. Wave 9 came at 10 a.m. 3,000 men, armored bulldozers, and more infantry. Low tide exposed the obstacles. Blades tore through steel and timber. Vehicles rolled inland. Casualties were 8%. The final wave, Wave 10, landed at 11 a.m. and continued throughout the afternoon. The balance of the 34,000 troops came ashore: service units, support elements, and division command. By noon, the lodgment stretched 1.5 miles deep. Final wave casualties were under 5%. Total American dead on Omaha Beach numbered roughly 1,000. The first two waves, about 2,500 men, accounted for nearly half of all those killed. Their sacrifice bought minutes, then yards, and eventually a foothold. By nightfall, American forces at Omaha linked with British troops from Gold Beach to the east, and with soldiers from Utah to the west. The landing that began in chaos ended in a continuous Allied front. Official tallies place roughly 2,400 American casualties at Omaha on D-Day. That number includes the wounded, the missing, and the dead. Death estimates vary by source, but fall in the range of 700 to 1,000. Those first waves bore the heaviest cost. Many accounts remember Omaha as an unbroken slaughter from dawn to dusk. The truth is harsher and more precise. The worst of the killing was concentrated in the first 90 minutes. Later waves landed in far greater strength and with far lower losses, and the beachhead was secured. The Atlantic Wall had been breached. It was paid for by the blood of those first waves. Their courage opened the door for the victory that followed. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this in the future where we discuss topics related to World War II and other historical events, please consider subscribing.